All right, so let's start breaking down this lesson talking about a popular framework for learning the fretboard called the caged system. C-A-G-E-D, caged. So there's lots of different ways to learn the fretboard. You can think of the fretboard in terms of scales. You can think of the fretboard in terms of chords. You can think of the fretboard in terms of leads, pentatonic positions, different songs. There's lots of different ways. And you never know what's going to click for you and say, oh, that's where I see the fretboard now. So that's why I recommend using a variety of tools, because you never know what is going to click for you. But a very popular system for learning the fretboard is called the caged system. You might have seen this online and you were wondering what's that about. So I want to do a little intro lesson on the caged system. It's a huge topic, so we won't be able to get into everything in just one lesson, but this will be a good intro lesson so you can understand how this system works. So I've talked a lot in other lessons about playing solos out of chord shapes. That's a very country or bluegrass way to view the fretboard in terms of a series of chord shapes. So that's basically what the caged system is. C-A-G-E-D just stands for each of those chords. We have C, we have A, we have G, we have E, and we have D. So we're going to learn to visualize the fretboard using those 5 chord shapes. So it's a very powerful way to visualize the fretboard. We can use this for leads, we can use this for rhythm, we can use it for backup. There's a lot of applications to this. So let's jump into it. So the first one we're going to talk about is, let's just start at the beginning. So we're going to start with C, right? So you probably know your basic C chord. So I've got my ring finger of my left hand on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Middle finger 2nd fret 4th string. 3rd string is open. And then 1st fret 2nd string. And then the high string is open, okay? And the low string is open as well, right? Okay, so that's our basic C chord. You're probably familiar with that. But how does that allow us to learn the fretboard? So what we need to do is convert this shape to what's called a closed position. So this shape of the C is an open string position because it has open strings, right? If I move it up a fret, it no longer works because I have those open strings. So what we need to do is convert this to a closed shape first, okay? So that's the first key, is converting these chords from open to closed, okay? So the easiest way to visualize this is, let's do this same C chord, except let's not use our first finger. So we're going to take our pinky and we're going to put it on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. We're going to take our ring finger, put it on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and we're going to put our middle finger now on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, okay? Might feel like a big stretch, but what we're going to do is we're going to move that up 2 frets to start, and then what's going to happen is that's going to allow our 1st finger to take over on the 2nd fret, right? Because that previous fret was open, 0, so we need to raise that fret 2 as well. If we raise all the other ones up 2 frets, we need to raise that open string up 2 as well. So this is the shape you get. You get 5th fret on the 4th string, or excuse me, on the 5th string, 5th fret on the 5th string, 4th fret 4th string, 2nd fret 3rd string, and 3rd fret 2nd string. And you don't have to push them all down at once if you don't want to, but it's good practice. If it's a big stretch, what you can do is move it further up. And what I'm doing is I'm only strumming the middle strings, okay? I'm just omitting the high and low string for now, okay? So what you can do is you can start to visualize these in series of shapes. So like I said, you don't have to push down all fingers. So I could just play a 2-finger version. I could play a 3-finger version. I could play the full 4-finger version. I could play this. So see how it gives me also a lot of new chord shapes I can play out of, right? So that's also very cool. So that's the C shape. Here's a little scale you can do to just get some notes. The other thing I like to do whenever I'm learning a new chord shape is find a few notes that are safe. So I can play this 5th fret here. I can move my index finger to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then 4th fret, 5th fret on the 4th string, and then third string, second fret, fourth fret, and then second string, second fret, third fret. Just a basic major scale. Remember, we're doing it closed, no open strings. Because now I can move it wherever it is, wherever I want. I don't even have to know what chord it is. That wherever I want. So in this case, the root note is on the fifth string and the second string. Okay, those are my roots. So wherever that note is, that's the chord I'm playing. Okay, so that's the C shape. So again, visualize this. See if you can visualize the C chord. That's why I like doing it this way because you can slide it down. You can see it, right? So that's my C shape. Okay. So that's the first shape in the caged system, the C, okay? The second one is A, okay? So you can do your basic A chord here. I've just got the second fret on the fourth, third, and second strings. Another way you can do the A that a lot of people do is I'm going to bar those second frets and then put my pinky up on the fifth fret of the high string. Played Bluegrass, that's like kind of like the Del McCoury version of the A chord that he likes to use. Okay? So same thing here. Now we have to get rid of our open string. So let's move it up 2 frets again. And we can do it with this bar chord here. So this pinky becomes the 7th fret. And then I'm just playing the top strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. The other thing I do there is I drop my thumb down so I can squeeze that to get that to sound a little better. The other way you can do it is if you do your A here, again, forget your first finger for a second, play the A chord like this, slide it up 2 frets, and then this open string on the top becomes the 2nd fret, right? You might know this full A bar chord, which is essentially the same thing, but again, we're just using, a lot of times with these cage shapes, you won't play all the fingers, and why don't I do that? Because now I'm not playing this full chord where I can grab other notes a lot easier, right? Like that, right? So that's the A shape. If you want some notes you can use with that chord, you can do it here. So same thing, you can move that one around wherever you want, right? Play the same scale. Okay, and we'll go into some exercises you can do, but let's first just break down each of the chords, okay? So the next one is G, right? So that was C, A, now we have G, okay? So this one is a little different because we're not going to modify quite as much. What we're really going to do for this one is just visualize the outside strings. Because when you move this one up, it's hard to grab these notes back here. You can do it, but it becomes this massive chord like this, which is really hard to play. So you almost don't ever do that. But you can still use this shape and visualize it to find your chords that you can use, right? So this would be like my G. What I can do here is play a little scale as well. Remember, all closed, right? So if I move that up to A, remember, you can't hit the open strings when you're playing this chord, but you can still use, this one works really good for just playing quick leads, right? The root is on the low string and the high string there, right? So you could play right there. Okay, so you can move that around. You can move it up to, like, what would that be? The 8th fret, that'd be C, right? So that'd be C. Thinking out of your G shape, okay? Then we have E, right? So just your classic E chord. Got 2nd fret, middle finger 2nd fret 5th string, ring finger 2nd fret 4th string, index finger 1st fret 3rd string. Just like the other chords, take your index finger off and flip your hand and play that shape without your index finger. Because what that's going to allow us to do is, let's slide up a little bit more. Let's slide up to the 3rd fret and we're going to bar. That's going to be like your G bar chord, right? So that's the E shape in the cage system. Okay? So you've got your E chord right here, right? And remember, you might only play the middle strings. You might play it up here. You might just play the top strings up here like this, right? This one is kind of a combination of it has elements of that G chord that we just learned, right? So a lot of these shapes kind of blend together, and that's where it's really valuable to start learning the fretboard, right? So that's what we're doing there. A scale you can do here, it's a little bit of a stretch, but you can play this. Either here or here. I'd probably play it here. Okay, so that's the E shape. And then lastly, we have the D shape, right? So right here, this one we're just going to play the high 3 strings, okay? So I've got 2nd fret 3rd string, 3rd fret 2nd string, 2nd fret 1st string, okay? Let's move that one up 2 frets. So that'd be like an E, right? That'd be E. A little scale you can do here is you can, if you just want 5 notes, you can play that. Or if you want the rest of the notes, you gotta shift up. Shift. Remember, I'm doing it all close so I can move it wherever I want. Okay? So that's each shape. C, A, G, E, D. Caged.